Hello, my name's Dan, I'm the Technique Editor for Photo Plus, and today I'm going to show you how to add a brand new sky to your landscape images. So here I've got this nice landscape with a lighthouse in it that I took on holiday recently, but it just looks a little bit flat because it's lacking some of that drama that you usually get in the sky with clouds. So by the end of this tutorial I'm going to show you how to get your images looking a bit more like this, which is a lot more eye-catching. So the first thing that you want to do is open up a landscape shot with a sky that you'd like to replace. So this picture here is going to be perfect. And then what you want to do is head up to File and over to Open. On your disk and download this month, there's a free skies folder, and inside you'll find 10 free sky images. So just scroll through those and pick the one that you like the look of. So I'm going to go with sky03.jpg and double click that to open it. Now we need to get the sky into the landscape image, so I'll hit Control or Command on a Mac and A to select it, and we can see the marching ants all the way around. That picture there means that it's selected. We'll hit Control or Command and C to copy it, and then Control or Command and W to close it down. Now back in the landscape shot, we'll hit Control or Command and V to paste it in. Now we can see that the sky is way too big for this scene. It's actually covering the entire landscape below. So we need to resize it to really take control of where the sky sits in the frame. So we'll hit Control or Command and T to put the sky into free transform mode. Because we're using elements, we'll make sure the constrain proportions box is ticked, and then we can just drag the corner of the bounding box down to shrink it a little bit. And we can zoom out with Control or Command and minus, and then we can just sort of drag the sky up so that it sits towards the top of the image. So something like that looks okay, and then we can just hit the tick or press return on the keyboard to set it in place. Now what we want to do is blend our new sky into the old one. So we'll head over to the Layers panel by going up to Window and making sure Layers is ticked. So here we can see our Layers panel on the right, and what we want to do here is change the blending mode of our sky layer from normal to one of these blending modes down here. So soft light or screen or overlay sometimes works well. It's just a case of experimenting with the different blending modes until you get one that looks good for your shot. So I think I'm going to go ahead and use overlay. You can also tweak the layer opacity. If you think the sky just looks a little bit too strong, you could drop the layer opacity down. So I think 90% looks good on this shot. Now you can see that we've blended our new sky into the old one, and that's really starting to take shape. But unfortunately it's blended it into the foreground as well, and that just looks like it needs some tidying up. So we will go back to the Layers panel and click the Add New Layer Mask icon. And then we get this white rectangle next to the image thumbnail, which is our layer mask. So if we paint anywhere on that layer mask with black, it will actually hide that layer. So we're going to grab the brush tool, set it to black by hitting D followed by X on the keyboard, and then we want a soft edged brush, and we can just resize that with the square bracket keys. So we're going to paint black, and as you can see that's going to hide that part of the sky layer so that we end up with our original foreground. Now when you get to the horizon, what you can do is zoom in by hitting Control and Command and plus a little, and then hold the spacebar for the hand tool and then drag your way around, and then you can just resize again with the square bracket keys, and you get a lot more control this way. So just paint really carefully over the horizon, just like I'm doing here. Now a neat little trick you can do if you're just struggling to see which bits you've painted over is you can hit the backslash key on your keyboard, and that will show you any areas that you've painted over with this red overlay. So I can see that I've missed a bit here. I can just paint over those, they'll become red. Don't worry, we're not actually painting red over the image, this is just temporary so that we can see the areas that we're painting over. So once you've gone all the way over your horizon, we'll just use the spacebar again and drag our focal point into view. So sometimes you might have a focal point like this lighthouse which is sticking out from the horizon. This also needs to be masked off so that the sky layer isn't coming through, so we'll just paint over that, being really careful not to paint over the actual sky. We just want to paint over the lighthouse here. So again, using a nice soft round edged brush, we'll just take our time and make sure we get an accurate mask here. And if you do go over the edge, like I've just done there, what you can do is hit X on the keyboard for a white foreground colour, and then you can just paint back over that. Just like so. And then hit X again for a black foreground colour, and continue to mask that off. So I think that looks pretty good. I'll hit backslash again so that we can lose this red overlay. And I'll hit Control and 0 on the keyboard as well so I can zoom out and see every detail. So this image is really starting to look quite convincing, but one last little thing we can do is tweak the brightness of the sky. So we'll head back to the Layers panel and double click on the sky image layer thumbnail so that we're working on that, and then we'll just hit Control or Command and L on the keyboard to bring up the levels panel. And then all we're going to do here is drag the middle midtone slider to the left to make the sky brighter, or to the right to make it darker. You can also experiment with the end stops as well to increase contrast if you like, and then again fine tune this middle midtone slider and drag the levels panel out of the way. And I think that looks pretty good. So I'll hit OK, and then when we're absolutely finished we'll head up to Layer and down to Flatten Image, and that will merge those two layers together, and then up to File and down to Save As to save the shot under a brand new file name. So it's as easy as that to replace skies in your landscape images. So give it a try, and I'll see you next time.